Welcome to the show, folks. It's Ed, Free Circle, and like always, I got something to say. Let's get into it, huh? We're going to talk about marriage not being easy today. Yeah, I got over 30 years under my belt with marriage with my wife. We fell in love and got together at 17 years old. Dated for 2 years. Married at 19 years old. And we fell for each other. It was one of the best things I ever did in my life, but it is the hardest thing that I ever did in my life. Being young, you're naive, and you're really unsure what you're getting yourself into. You tell yourself you do, and you know all about it at that age. And you should. Don't take me wrong. All you young kids out there that are in love, you gotta jump into it. You can't be afraid. But the key is, make sure it's love and not just an infatuation, a quick hit. You know, it's not good to do that. So when you're young and you get married at 19, you will go through a lot. I mean, you're growing up together, you're still kids. And now not only are you responsible for yourself, but you're responsible for each other. And the tide shifts from I'm in control of me and that's all I have to really worry about, to now every decision that you make is two. There's not one of you, there's two of you that become one. And that is hard to do. It is. It's hard to do. It's beautiful after you get through it and you can look back on it and say, wow, how did we make it through all that? But I'll tell you, at the same time, you laugh, you chuckle, and you are just so happy that you made it through. You showed you're strong. You've got perseverance, and you did it. Life throws a lot of quirks at you. A lot of it's financial. In this life, finances get involved with marriage way too often. And when we allow money and finances to enter into a situation, it always throws buckles. Because now you've got to think you're not the only person and you're responsible for two. So finances, you know, when you're young, you've got a bank account, your spouse has a bank account, and you're used to kind of being in control of what you're going to do. At that age, you haven't had control of your life a lot because you just finished high school. You know, if you're lucky, you're on your own. You know, thank God I had good parents. They loved me enough to understand they already went through marriage. So they know how hard it is. Marriage isn't easy. And we think it's going to be 50-50 a lot of the times. No, it's never 50-50. Sometimes it's 95-5. Sometimes it's 10-90. You know, the split is always one of you are going to be up and the other might be a little down. And that's when you come together to lift yourselves up. Marriage isn't easy, especially when you're young. I've been through a lot of situations, and we shouldn't be married. But love will prevail. True love will always prevail. So what you go through, you're going to go through anyway. It's because you're melding two attitudes into a single attitude, and you're going to butt heads. That toilet paper isn't hung right on that toilet paper roll. So we've got issues. I don't like it how you've done that. And it's nitpick after nitpick after nitpick. But it's not nitpicking. And that's what we have to understand. When we come together and we start living in the same household, there are idiosyncrasies that are just going to drive you nuts about the other person. It's learning to understand each other. You learn to be forgiving. You learn to be understanding. The most important is learning to be kind to each other. Even in the face of diversity, you have to be kind to each other. I mean, you'll have those fights. And I'm telling you, they can get nasty. But you have to work through it. It's just a natural process. And if you're unwilling to talk, you'll never get over the anger. And then that anger is going to build and you're going to end up in divorce. So we always try to work it out before bedtime. Well, that doesn't always work. But try. The key is don't hold it in. A lot of the times, I've noticed with my wife, she'll hold something in for days. And then all of a sudden, pop. See? And that's why it's easier to communicate. If you can communicate together and understand what you tell each other has to be the truth. If you lie to each other, it's going to cause more problems, and then those problems are going to stack up. The key to a good, healthy relationship is good communication skills. And that's hard to do when you're young, because as a young man, I don't want to offend my wife. I don't want to lose her by telling her something that I did that she might be really mad about. But if you cannot be honest with your spouse, you'll never be honest with yourself. Because when you come together, you are one. And none of us are perfect. We're going to make mistakes. It's how you own up to those mistakes that matter. And if you have a good communication skill set, you're going to have a pretty good relationship, because the relationship, when it boils down to it, is understanding communication. And if you're a guy and you think, oh, I'm the man of the house, you sit down and you're going to listen to me, well, you're going to have problems, because that's when Hoodie pops. And I'm going to tell you about Hoodie here. On Jurassic Park, the movie, there's a scene where they come up to this lizard-looking thing, and they say, oh, that lizard is so cute, and they get up close to it, and then all of a sudden this fan-looking thing swoops up like a big hood, and it just attacks them suckers. That's a Hoodie. It's just instantaneous. I'll tell you, when Hoodie hits, you're not going to like it a lot. So it's a good lesson to understand. You have to communicate, and communicate well. If you cannot communicate, you're going to go through a lot of trouble. So my suggestion is definitely work on communication skills daily. I mean, when you're young and you're a guy, you have your buddies, you're trying to impress them, you've got them hanging out all the time. Spend time with your wife. It's important. Time, it's odd. A lot of the time, all they need is a little time. Do not put material items into your relationship. If you cannot just walk away from anything and be happy, you're going to have problems in a relationship. Because material items are not the important things. It's the health and the security of your relationship. Marriage is the best thing in the world. You get the best friend out of it. And when you can look over at your wife and she can just burp at you and start laughing, that's special, my friend. It may gross you out now because you're under influence, but as you progress and you grow stronger in your relationship together, oh, it's the best thing in the world. So, relationship and marriage is not easy. But if you're willing to work hard and you're a good person with morals and boundaries, that's another thing. Boundaries. You gotta set boundaries with each other, and don't cross those boundaries. So there's a lot to marriage, and things pop up all the time. Don't turn it into something bad. Communicate. We're going to talk more about marriage. If you'd like questions answered about marriage, hit us up with an email, freecircle@mail.com. We'd be happy to discuss and answer your questions. That's enough for this one. Thanks for joining us. Marriage is not easy. Hang on, kids. It's going to be fun. Stand up. Stand proud. Stand hard. And stand a long time. Marriage isn't easy. And stand up and discuss it. Be truthful and honest. Your spouse is the best thing that ever happened to you. Grow up and wake up. Ed, Free Circle, out.